All right, we're just waiting on one more speaker, but let's kick it off because we have a loaded agenda today. So, thank you everyone for tuning in for our second November community call. There were so many updates from our ecosystem this month that we needed to have two of them. So, yesterday we were joined by eight ecosystem teams, excuse me, and today we have another packed agenda. So, without further ado, just to give you an overview of everything happening today, we will hear from Interlay about their roadmap and from Bridge to BTC DeFi Hub. Joining us today, we also have Subwallet to talk about their DOT insights and their Polkadot deep dive Q3 report and their ecosystem map and even their most loved projects campaign. Later, we have Polkadot joining us to talk about their recent beta release and upcoming integrations. We have Polkadot Naming Service joining us today to talk about the new domain name registration, Planet NFT campaign, DAO governance, and DNS server. We also have Crust joining us today to talk about their recent parachain slot auction, Crust files, integration, partnership announcements, and ambassador program. We also have a star joining us today to talk about their recent partnership with Docomodo. And we have Infinity joining us today to talk about the latest updates on chain. So without further ado, let's hand it over to Interlay.
All right. Well, so hi, I'm Alexei. I'm one of the two co-founders of Interlay, and on very short notice, had the chance to join in on this community call to share some major updates that are coming to Interlay. As many of you know, we started our mission by trying to bring Bitcoin into other ecosystems, fighting the big problem that we have today, that Bitcoin cannot be used for anything else but payments. Bitcoin has 300 million users. It is the biggest network by far, and it is the system, the asset that is leading global adoption, right? It's the only thing that has penetrated every sector, from department stores to internet giants, now even governments. But it is a controversy, right? That you cannot use BTC for anything else than transfers. But without the necessary DeFi tooling, without being able to trade, borrow, lend, and do things with Bitcoin, there can never be a global economy built on top of it. And with the recent events around FTX and the backlash that we've seen and the impact on centralized bridges like the one on Solana and RenBTC, the one being now sunset, and we still don't quite know what will happen to WBTC, because we know that Alameda minted 100K out of the 200K WBTC in circulation. We've seen that centralized bridges are not an option. We know this for a while now, but now we see that it also hits centralized Bitcoin bridges. However, just a bridge is not enough. We've seen that while being able to use IBTC across different DeFi projects is great, there's still a big hurdle for new users. Every dApp differs, every bridge is like every XAM channel is a bit different, and the user interfaces look different. And it's very hard, hence, to onboard new users, people who have Bitcoin and want to use it in DeFi into our new ecosystem, right? It's very difficult for us to get people from Ethereum, Solana, Avalanche, Cosmos, and Bitcoin itself to come to Polkadot if there are so many different wallets, different projects that they have to interact with from the start. And to this end, Interlay will expand to being a full-fledged one-stop shop for all things Bitcoin DeFi. You will be able to trade, borrow, lend, ensure your Bitcoin position, go leverage, do whatever you want with your BTC directly on the Interlay network. This means, in detail, we are, on one hand, expanding the BTC bridge. We're launching V2 with significant improvements to scalability, which will allow much more BTC to enter the Polkadot ecosystem. And then, on top of that, we're deploying a decentralized exchange, Uniswap V2 style plus Curve style stable swaps. In parallel, we are launching a lending protocol that will allow you to borrow and lend against BTC. And all of this is wrapped in a simple one-click interface that allows you to do whatever you want within a few clicks and to construct custom strategies and then offer them to users. So it's not, so anyone will be able to construct different strategies without having to write smart contracts. This is obviously a big step, big change. And the biggest change here, well, the most interesting bit, I believe, is that the first parts of this will be going live already end of this year. So as you can find in the 2.0 roadmap update tweet linked in this call, the testnet for the lending protocol and most likely the decentralized exchange will go live on Kintsugi already in Q4, so basically in December this year. And then early 2023, in January, we expect them to go live on Kintsugi. So testnet first end of this year, going live on Kintsugi early next year, then our 5th security audit, and then rollout to Interlay between February and March. There is much more incoming, right? But the last thing I want to mention before handing over to the others is Interlay's long-term vision. With the movement to really becoming a one-stop shop DeFi hub, we hope to attract the entire DeFi community that has BTC. And we know that everybody in DeFi has some form of exposure to Bitcoin. But that's not all. The first step after this will obviously be to expand to other ecosystems. And here we are betting on trustless light client bridges. We see Snowfork hopefully going live early next year, and the same will be possible with Cosmos. So you will see trustless bridges from Polkadot to Ethereum and Cosmos, which Interlay will leverage to expand and get more users into the ecosystem. And from there, we will move on to institutional support. But most importantly, most interestingly, we will then push for retail adoption. And by retail, we mean people who, the 300 million users that have Bitcoin, not all of them actively use DeFi. And our goal is to onboard them onto Interlay by providing a very simple to use mobile application and launching the previously announced self-custody Bitcoin savings account. And that's it for today. If you're interested, please do check out the roadmap and consider joining our community EMA next week, where we can share many more details on what's coming. Thanks a lot.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alexi. And if you guys didn't see, at the top of your screen here, we are pinning the most relevant tweets to what our speakers are talking about. So if you hear something that sounds interesting, make sure to click the tweet at the top and check it out to learn more. Also, in the lower right-hand corner in this little chat box thing. If you have any questions, we have a packed agenda today, so there probably won't be time for questions at the end. However, if you have a question while a speaker is speaking, click that and type your question, and I'll make sure to ask it before the speaker, at the end of the speaker's talk. All right, so without further ado, up next we have Subwallet.
Thank you everyone. Lovely to be here. I am DJ Hashang. I am lead researcher at Subwallet, and today I'm very happy to be here to present about our new research focus initiative about the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem called Dot Insights. And with Dot Insights, what we aim to do is to capture the entirety of the whole Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem. So first, the problem. Why do we do this? After entering the ecosystem, we noticed that there is a gap caused by what we call the Polkadot dilemma. The Polkadot ecosystem, we all know that it has one of the most advanced technology in the world of blockchain, but at the cost of decentralization is data fragmentation. And data fragmentation leads to difficulties in reporting historical data, thus leading to difficulties in reporting the whole ecosystem and getting a comprehensive understanding of the whole ecosystem from layer 0 to layer 1, layer 2, etc. And there have been efforts in the past to capture the Polkadot ecosystem through reporting, but so far no reports have dug deep into layer 1 parachains and layer 2 dApps. So that is the reason why we come up with a solution to bridge the gap of knowledge here. And the solution is Dot Insights. So Dot Insights have two initial products that we introduce. The first one is the Polkadot Deep Dive Report, and the second one is the Polkadot Inclusive Ecosystem Map. And the Polkadot Deep Dive Report, we actually introduced the first edition on the first half of 2022 in August. And that report serves three purposes. We provide an overview of the ecosystem, give insights into projects in DeFi, NFT, and Web3, and then supply data from trusted sources and verified by project teams. And the first one that we introduced in August as a kind of testing the community's feedback and reception, we actually gained a lot of warm feedback and impressive numbers from our launching campaign. Overall, that campaign attracted more than 500,000 Twitter impressions with more than 1,000 retweets. And with that success in mind, we continue to do another deep dive report on the third quarter of 2022, and with updates compared to the previous one, thanks to the feedback of the community. And some impressive numbers that I'd like to share from the report that we have done and from Dot Insights more generally. So in Q3 of 2022, Polkadot ranks first in the 30-day development activity ranking in September, together with Kusama. And in September also, the Polkadot total number of DOT holders surpassed the 1 million milestone. So from now, there are more than 1 million holders of DOT. And more interestingly, in the first 2 weeks of November this month, there has been a surge in the number of new accounts coming to DOT and the number of active accounts compared to the beginning of November. And I believe this is a very positive sign that the Polkadot ecosystem is standing strong in times of difficulty and uncertainty. And that is the first product that Dot Insights introduced to the community. And the second one is the Polkadot Inclusive Ecosystem Map. And with this ecosystem map, we'd like to offer an overview of the whole ecosystem, which then will allow users to explore and keep updates about all of the feature projects. The second purpose that we'd like to achieve is that we'd like to motivate two-way interactions between the projects and the users through voting mechanism. And last but not least, very importantly, we like to support marketing and branding for all projects to communities both inside and outside of the ecosystem, so that we like to make the new user onboarding process easier, right? Because if you look at other ecosystem in the Web3 world, you see that most of them have a kind of ecosystem map that captures all of the projects and all the things that are happening within the ecosystem, so that when a new user come in and start exploring the ecosystem, they can immediately jump into this ecosystem map and start exploring, answering their own questions of like, okay, what's happening inside Polkadot? Which segments are the most vibrant? What kind of projects are operating in here, etc. So that's why the Polkadot and Ecosystem Map initiative comes up with support from Parity Technology. And at this moment, we are in the process of launching the ecosystem map and focusing on the voting mechanism. So in order to encourage users to come in and vote for their favorite projects, we organize the most loved projects campaign from November 18 to November 30. So the steps are very simple. You access the website .insights.xyz, install Subwallet if you haven't got one, and then vote for your favorite projects and sign the transaction using Subwallet. So you can either use Substrate accounts or EVM accounts. We recently supported EVM account signing, and the transactions are totally gas free, but you have to have some balance on any chain in the ecosystem. In any chain that subwallet supported in order to vote. That's kind of the mechanism that we apply in order to prevent spamming. So one account can vote, can cast one vote for a project, but can vote for an unlimited number of projects. And since we started running this campaign, up until now, there have been 10,000 votes on the whole Most Loved Project campaign, with almost 5,000 users getting access into the Insights website. So these numbers show that a lot of people are interested in this, and the Polkadot and the ecosystem maps are like a very necessary initiative for the whole ecosystem. And to end my presentation, I'd like to share about the vision and the mission and the next steps of Dot Insights. So Dot Insight aims to become a research hub and trusted data platform for the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem, with the mission of making the process of onboarding new users and builders to the ecosystem easier. Moving forward, we are in the spirit of Web3 open source and always open to community input. So you can either submit your project if you feel like there's a missing, or you can raise the issue or even create a pull request on our open source GitHub in order to improve the Dot Insights website. And in the next milestone, we want to feature an info box for each of the project containing all of the necessary information for users to understand about the projects, including on-chain data. And we will continue to do the reports in the next year and are, again, very open for suggestions. So if you have any ideas, any things that you think that will improve the report, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And again, pinned to the top of this is a tweet from Dot Insights that talks about the deep dive report and leads to the ecosystem map as well, if anyone's interested in checking that out. So up next, we have Polkadex.
Hello, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Vivek, one of the co-founders of Polkadot. We are trying to solve one of the biggest problems that the crypto industry is facing since the beginning of this industry. That is to bring non-custodial order book trading to the retail and to give them professional trading tools which is popular in the market. We are trying to build a decentralized exchange that performs like a centralized exchange. Taking custody out of a centralized operator has been a very difficult problem to solve. This is a problem which is around for a long time. It was even recently discussed in a recent paper published by Vitalik. The Ethereum community is still struggling to solve it using Plasm and Validium smart contracts. But Polkadot has found a breakthrough to solve this long-standing problem without using any complex smart contracts. Basically by utilizing one of the properties which is inherent in Substrate. So Substrate is this unique property which allows you to use delegated signatures. So it is groundbreaking in the fact that instead of using any smart contracts, you are able to first solve it using cryptographic primitives. So all of this was possible only with the flexibility of programming in Substrate. Well, like any difficult problems, it has not been easy ride for Polkadot because we had this very complicated architecture, basically, designed keeping the end user in mind. So, in order to make sure the centralized operator that runs the order book does not get access to the funds, we had to introduce an execution layer that is bound by a trust layer provided by the Polkadot network. So, after close to 2 years of development, we have finally released the order book beta to the mainnet, which you can already see in the URL orderbook.polkadex.trade, which actually was done after releasing a mainnet 1 year ago. So if you currently go to the website, whatever interface that you see there is basically the front end interacting with the blockchain through a trusted enclave. So if you look at the last 1 year, the development has been mostly focused around getting the enclave to talk to the runtime, which has not been very easy because most of the libraries were not tested before. And this is the first time that trusted enclave environment is put into production and utilized for a use case like this. So we had to basically invent many of the libraries and the connections that had to happen between the enclave and the substrate code. So it was something which took a long time to finish. But we are happy to announce that it is finally over, and it is out in the mainnet, which everybody can see. And in order to test out mainnet stability, we have right now utilized a temporary bridge to Ethereum because, as you know, we are a parachain, but we still haven't connected to the dot network yet. So for the time being, we have utilized a centralized bridge using chain bridge to bring in assets to test out the stability of the network and the interface. So far, it is working fine, and the interface also needs to be tweaked. And in the coming months, we can expect more connections to be opened, and that is the primary focus right now to get the parachain up and running and make sure that we have enough channels open to allow data to pass through, and make sure that these any applications that runs on other parachains are able to place directly or communicate directly with the order book. So that is one aspect of it, and also the fact that we are trying to make sure that more simple channels are open with other layer ones that is also in the work using another set of layer mechanisms which we have in-house developed. It's called the Thea protocol. It is again an extension of changing the validator set that we already have, and also playing around a little bit with the tokenomics to make sure that anyone who's actually allowing these channels to open to Polkadot's order book is rewarded with the reward mechanism. So basically, eventually, how we intend to work is that the parachain will be utilized mostly for holding assets which will collateralized assets, and making sure that it also acts as a gateway for the other parachain assets to come through, and also to make sure that the validators are able to hold enough assets to secure the data that is available on chain. And we also have one more aspect to the trading, where the enclave is actually performing these trades for the user, and the off-chain trading that happens will be stored on IPFS platform, which are also discussing with one of the projects here, Crust Network, which I believe Crust Network will explain in detail. So that is something which we're also trying to partner with them in order to make sure that whatever off-chain data there is has additional backup on IPFS. So, well, I think that is how the current state of the network is. It is currently running as a separate solo chain, as well as it will also be connected as a parachain. And once the parachain and the network is live, we can hope to see more XCM channels to be opened with other parachains. Yep, thank you very much. That is the update from our side.
Great, thank you so much. And up next, we have Polkadot Name Service to talk about their new domain name registration.
Hi everyone. Lovely to have this chance for sharing our latest updates. So basically, PNS is a DID infrastructure based on Polkadot, and you can use it to transfer some assets, which is the basic usage. And also, like you can, if you're an artist, you can use like some subdomain, for example, nft.pns to track your um, NFT. Also, like if you are like running a DAO organizations, you can like use the subdomain features to register something like twitter.pns and run this your DAO like in a more Web3 way. And like we currently already have opened 5-digit registration, and I think by the end of this year we will open much shorter registration, like 4-3, which will help the like the whole Polkadot ecosystem to build identity recognitions. For the second point, we are also developing a PNS API, which will save time for other projects to integrations. For the moment, we are working with Moonbeam, Talisman, like another wallet, and Web3 Go, Literal Tree, like relation, something like social. We thought PNS is just more than like an NFT, but also a corner for massive adoption of like something like social project, and it might solve the fragmental problem of this whole Polkadot, because we have a lot of parachains, and sometimes it's difficult to track where your assets or where you are. But if you have like a readable name, like my name, Fish dot, and other people can recognize you much more easier. And for the third point, we recently will also support Polkadot Hackathon Asia. We will give any team who try to merge or integrate with PNS some rewards. And for the fourth point, the very recently we decided to launch some NFT for governance, because we thought like this project shouldn't be just like controlled by the core members. We need to listen to the community, and anyone who has this like this NFT can just do some vote. This NFT is slightly different from the PNS, which is technically also an NFT, but use it for different purpose. And like currently we are having events, if you just register some PNS domains, you can get this special NFT, we call it Commit, and you can use this just to, to vote or to get some reduction for registry fee, or maybe in the futures, we decided to return some treasury, or like do some votes to what should we do for the next next step. And for the fifth point, in order for people to, for normal users to better use DPNS, we are launching the multi token payment. For PNS registrations, people can just use different tokens, because as we all know, there are a lot of tokens on the Polkadot ecosystems. We don't want to like stick on one or two. And for the sixth point, we also get some. We also try to strengthen our go-to-market strategy. So we get a feature, invitation features. So as a new user just invite some other users, they can also get some rewards. And I think for the seventh point, it's about SBTs, because we thought maybe in the futures, a DID will be something like your very important digital assets, just like other assets. So if like someone try to sell something, or you don't want to sell it in the futures, you can just make your this DID, this end with a dot, just permanently. So for example, like me, I can link my cats love fish dot, it's a DID, to my address permanently, I cannot transfer it to other people's, and it will help other people to believe, okay, you are the man here. And maybe also with the support of our partners like Relation, you can also have a lot of social graph behind on it, and maybe it will open a massive adoption of social network or social projects for the whole Web3. Also, maybe like some lending or borrowing, like some financial social financial things, maybe also will be built on these like SBT features. And I think also we would like to talk modules, which is we thought it's also very important because during the development of PNS, we are keep thinking, okay, what can we do more than like ENS or like Bonfida, these other projects in the other chains. We found it's a very interesting point. Like even, for example, nowadays, all of these data are actually stored on chain and decentralized, but it still can be blocked by some Web2 tycoon. Like maybe someone knows about these Tornado Cash things or Uniswap, like this traditional Web2 company can block these things very easily. So maybe if you're a very technical guy, you can always go to the P2P network and go to the node. But if you're just normal people, you can't. You just cannot get access to it. So I will explain a little about these DDNS features. So DDNS stands for decentralized. So think about that. If you are a project, you can just write your website IP under your DID, and as we all know, there are a lot of nodes on the Polkadot. So you can ask these nodes, hey, can you just return me some IP address of this special DID, like PNS dot dot? And by doing this, you can always get the IP address correctly and anti-censorship from the central things like traditional DNS service like Cloudflare. And we thought it will it will kind of just make the whole loop complete for the whole D web. Otherwise, you still will meet some kind of problem like, oh, okay, everything is online, but you just cannot open from your Chrome, and it's kind of uneasy for the massive adoption. So I think like this PNS is, people might think it's very similar to ENS for sure, but also we have a lot of unique features. Just like that, you can use it to run your DAO, or like you can just get some track for your own minted NFT. If you're an artist, you don't need to go to the OpenSea to do it. And we hope like to get more collaborations with other projects, because we know if we just are alone, we are basically no one, and it's just like, you know, an NFT stuff. But if more people use it, it might have some network effect, and people can just identify yourself. Not just maybe in the first stage will be on the Polkadot, everyone know, oh, hey, you're a project like our partner, like literature dot dot, or like Moonbeam dot dot, this stuff. But maybe in the even more futures, if a lot of Web2 people from Twitter, they are using these dots like to identify themselves, like, oh, I'm a Polkadot man, not just Ethereum man, and you can say, oh, hey, I am here, and it's more than like transferring assets without correction. It's also about identity. It's also about social graph. It's also about massive adoption. So please don't hesitate. If like you are a project, just send us a link if you want to use the API, or if you are some normal people, just want to get your own name, some fancy name on the on-chain, you can just check our website, pns.link, just to register some things. Or if you want to vote, you can just wait for a little bit moment. You can join our Discord, and we will give you guys a chance to also participate in this decentralization movement, not just assets, but also much more like social society. Okay, I guess my time is near the close, so I will give the mic back to the host.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Up next, we have Crust Network to talk about their parachain slot, their Crust Files integration, partnership announcements, and ambassador program.
Great. Hey, everybody. Lute here from Crust Network. I'm the business lead for Crust Network. And as already said, I want to give you some...
We aren't able to hear you, Ludwig.
I can hear you.
Oh, you're able to hear Crust?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It must be something on my side.
Yeah, it's fine.
So is it fine now?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. I hope everybody else can hear me too. Otherwise, maybe raise your hand or comment. Crust Network is a decentralized storage protocol that's built on the IPFS protocol. And it addresses issues like data ownership, immutability, censorship resistance, and data privacy for Web3, because current solutions like Web2 are offering and providing, such as AWS or Google Cloud for data storage, are just not decentralized and not suitable for the Web3 we all envision and also work for so hard. So Crust provides a solution for that by providing decentralized storage solutions. And we chose the IPFS protocol because it's on one hand very decentralized. It's totally immutable. It uses content-based addressing of content, so it actually doesn't matter where the content is stored as long as the content is available somewhere in the network. But IPFS on its own doesn't come without any flaws. So basically, IPFS is not incentivized. And that's why you have no guarantee that your data will be maintained in the network. And you also have no control about how many nodes actually pick up your data and store it. And the simple reason is there are just no rewards for those node operators to actually hold on to your data. So after garbage collection, this data might be lost. And although this data is there stored immutable and decentralized, we also want to have kind of a guarantee and control over our data and maybe an endless persistence. So what we are building is an incentive and service layer on top of the IPFS protocol, which on the one hand has storage providers that provide their storage resources to our protocol. And on the other hand, we have users, developers, builders, whoever, who has a specific demand for storage resources. And in between those two groups, we have our protocol stack that enables a totally trustless environment to actually execute those storage orders on chain and also record them on chain. And all of this for like a margin of the price we are used to from Web 2. The cool thing is that this offers solutions for many different use cases. So the most popular use cases is actually hosting of decentralized applications. We do that for a lot of DeFi projects. The most popular projects probably using our technology are Uniswap and Avi, who host their front end via Crust Network. They pin their UI to our network and get like guaranteed, I think Uniswap has guaranteed over 80 different replicas distributed over our entire network. Centralized outages or errors are not relevant for Uniswap anymore because they know they have over 80 replications, and the chance that all of those nodes go down at the same time is not very high. So the availability is very high. Additionally, it reduces the exposure to any kind of front-end related security breaches like DNS hijack attacks, etc. So there's a lot of value for DeFi projects to actually use decentralized hosting. via Crust Network. And another popular use case is NFT metadata storage. So still a lot of metadata for NFTs are stored on centralized solutions like AWS, like Google, where let's say we can experience a lot of different issues. For example, the link can break, and then maybe my 5-6 digit NFT asset links to like a very expensive 404 error page, or this content can be censored by the centralized cloud operator, and many different issues that can come along the way. And so users actually don't own their data, they don't really have control over your data, and instead it just gets exploited by those large platforms, and for not the benefit of the user itself. And that's what we are working on. And although we were, I think, among the very first 10 projects actually building on the Polkadot's framework, we just recently won our parachain slot. So we won the 30th Polkadot parachain auction. I think it was in the end of last month. And at the same week, we also extended our Crust Shadow slot for the Kusama network. So it was quite an exciting month for us last month. And yeah, we are open now for any kind of projects to integrate with us. We believe that any kind of Web3 service or solution utilizes or has a need for some kind of storage. And why not use a decentralized solution over a centralized one? And so with the parachain slot, we can make it even more easy for projects to connect with us in a totally native way via XCMP channels, to use our X storage palette. And we are open for anybody who has interest. Feel free to contact me to get in touch with our team. We can work on that together. So leading from that, I want to also talk about a little bit about partnerships. The most recent one we probably announced are the ones with Gear Network, with Apillion, formerly Austrail, who will use Crust Network as a storage module in their developer tool platform. Peak Network, that will use Crust Network to store, let's say, economy of things data on their Tanoa, will store NFT metadata. And I think we already heard it, Polkadex will work together with Crust Network to store their off-chain user data on Crust Network. They already are utilizing IPFS, but with pinning their data additionally via Crust Network, they can get a higher degree on decentralization, more replications, higher security, and more and more values. So I also want to talk about one of our end user applications. It's called Crust Files. For those of you who don't know it yet, Crust Files is basically a decentralized Dropbox. You can log in with your wallet. We have many different wallets you can log in with. For example, recently we integrated Subwallet. So if you have a Subwallet wallet or just a Polkadot extension, you can log in even with your MetaMask. And you can store your data like in a Dropbox kind of user experience, totally decentralized and immutable. And all of this is for free. So feel free to try it out. And another cool thing is we also recently integrated Web2 logins. So for Web2 users, to make it easy for them to onboard, to try out decentralized solutions. And that's why you can log in, for example, with your Reddit account, with your Twitter account, with a normal email, and much more. And one of our main goals at the moment is not just building solutions, but also to raise awareness for decentralized storage and to encourage developers to actually use this technology, which is, in our eyes, highly needed for a fully decentralized Web3. And we want to make it as easy as possible for developers to access our storage solutions. And that's why, for example, we recently just opened a new faucet where developers can get some tokens to play around. We offer a grant program where builders can apply, where we provide up to $30,000 financial support, and we have an ecosystem growth program where we help out builders with our knowledge, with our network, and also with financial assets to get their projects started. And if you have any kind of ideas how to utilize this kind of technology and how to leverage it, check our documentations. There's like a guide how to apply for those grant programs, and how to get in touch with us. And very last thing I want to say is something that we are also working on, a totally new product suite, which is built on top of Crust, which makes it even more easy to leverage Crust Networks technology on like a kind of platform as a service or software as a service basis. So that's something really exciting. And I'm looking forward to that, and you definitely will hear about that via our socials. So I encourage you to follow us or to follow my account. I joined with my personal account, but the Cross Network account is easy to find as well. And so I would be glad if you maybe looked into this, and also maybe to hear from you. That's from my side. Thanks.
Alrighty, thank you. So up next, we have a star to talk. Oh, Sorte, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Up next, we have you to talk about your
Thank you.
partnership with Docomo.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me today. And I saw a lot of the familiar faces here. And really excited to visiting Sub-Zero next week. Before talking about Docomo, I would like to explain what Asta Network is. Asta Network is the future of smart contract platform for a multi-chain era. So we became a Polkadot parachain in January as one of the top 5. And we have been developing our ecosystem. So right now we have more than 70 dApps, either NFT or DeFi, on the top of our EVM, Ethereum Virtual Machine. But for us, we are making a smart contract hub that supports Ethereum Virtual Machine and WebAssembly. I think having WebAssembly is super important for our Polkadot ecosystem because right now 100% of the Polkadot dApps are EVM, so written in Solidity. In this sense, we are somehow reproducing something Ethereum can make. So from the as founder of the Asta perspective, I would like to push WebAssembly implementation and adoption. Parity Technology is making a contract palette for WebAssembly smart contract, and which will be implemented in Q1 on Asta. So once we support WebAssembly, you can deploy Ink smart contract, Rust smart contract, or maybe in the future, Go smart contract, or C++ smart contract, or maybe TypeScript smart contract, and so on. So having WebAssembly means unlocking Web3 for Web2 developer. And we do have an Ethereum virtual machine environment. So we are going to support not only Web3 developer, but also Web2 developer and make them interactive. So we invented cross virtual machine. So we have EVM and WebAssembly, and we make them interactive, and we are calling it cross virtual machine. And we are also making Swanky. Swanky is the all-in-one WebAssembly smart contract tunings. It's like Truffle for Solidity, and Swanky is for WebAssembly smart contract. And we are going to show you a demo at Sub-Zero next week. So really excited to show our progresses. Apart from that, I think Asta is one of the leading smart contract parachain on Polkadot right now. But we have another narrative, Japan. Probably the reason is I'm Japanese founder. And we have a lot of the great partnership in Japan. And one of them is NTT Docomo. NTT is the fourth biggest company in Japan, and 30% of the NTT stock is owned by the Japanese government. And NTT Docomo is the child company of NTT Group. But NTT Docomo is the largest internet mobile operator in Japan. and 37% of the Japanese people are using NTT Docomo. So it's super huge. And their annual revenue is more than 40 billion, I guess, per year. And they disclosed that they're going to invest 4 billion US dollar into Web3 in the upcoming 4 or 5 years. And we are selected one of the partners together with Accenture. So we are going to push Web3 adoption together with Accenture and NTT Docomo. And also, we also agreed that we are going to make Web3 social good use cases on the top of our star. Like, environment, the Web3 use cases to solve environment problem, aging society, and so on. So I think our presence in Japan is getting bigger and bigger. And my mission in 2023 is to bring top Japanese companies in the Asta network ecosystem. So this is what we would like to do. And in 2023, we would like to be recognized as the emerging chain backed by Japan. And like Polygon in India is going to be Asta in Japan. And also, Japan has strong content like IP, like manga, anime, and so on. And what's happening right now is Candy Girls. Candy Girls is original IP made by Yoshitaka Amano. He is the illustrator of the Final Fantasy. And the auction is happening right now, and so far it is successful. And Amano Sensei, he is the really a legend in Japan. And once we can make Candy Girls successful, I believe that a lot of the content's IP will be following. So yeah, I think once Candy Girls is successful, I think we can have really famous IP, which everyone knows. Yeah, that's happening right now, and by the end of this year, we would like to push Polkadot forward by implementing WebAssembly use cases and also XCM use cases that leverage XCMP. But in 2023, we keep contributing to the Polkadot, but we also would like to make much stronger presence in Japan and across the globe. So this is what we would like to do. Luckily, we raised roughly 25 million led by Polychain, Coinbase, and so on in January. So we are expanding our team right now. If you are interested in working with us, feel free to contact me. And if you'd like to deploy something on a star, maybe on EVM or WebAssembly, feel free to contact me as well. Yes, thank you very much for time.
Thank you, Sota. And last but not least, we have Infinity joining us today to talk about their recent updates on chain, fuel tanks, and the new marketplace palette.
Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. We can hear you.
Amazing. Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Tasio. I'm one of the ecosystem managers working at Affinity, and I would like to introduce you guys to two amazing features that we are currently building with Affinity, which is the marketplace palette and fuel tanks. Both of these features are operating on protocol layer level. First of all, the marketplace palette is on Affinity. Devs and blockchain users are able to trade their NFTs without the need of a front-end platform. With the marketplace palette, you can buy, list, and sell your tokens on the parachain marketplace directly on chain. This palette will allow blockchain game devs and users to create fixed price listings, timed auctions, and place bids on NFTs directly on the blockchain, as well as supporting royalties built in the protocol layer with less smart contract risks. A protocol fee of 2% is charged for all the sales on the marketplace, and it is directly sent over to the pallet pools to be used for costs related to the parachain itself. Jumping right into the fuel tanks, with these on-chain feature, devs are able to subsidize transaction costs for their user players. Devs are also able to specify various settings and rules based on which fuel tank would pay for the transaction fees, as well as provide storage deposits. To talk about a bit more about these features, Some of these rules are very flexible and can include whitelisting addresses, collections on the blockchain, requiring users to have a token balance to be subsidized by the field tank itself, permitted specific calls for rules sets on the blockchain, setting up widgets for users and fuel tanks as well. This was definitely very short, but I hope this was enough to give a short glimpse on what we are currently building on Affinity. If you would like to reach out and develop with Affinity, feel free to drop us a DM on Twitter, and we would be more than glad to assist you on anything related to it. I think this is everything on my end. This is definitely a wrap up on my side. Thanks everyone who is listening, and feel free to reach out if you would like to build with us.
Emily, you are on mute.
Thank you so much. Sorry about that. I seem to be having phone issues today. Well, thank you everyone for attending the call. That is our call for today. In case you tuned in late, sorry, you guys can hear me now, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, wonderful. Sorry about that. Thank you everyone for tuning in today. A special thanks to our speakers joining us today. Alexi from Interlay, DJ Ha from Subwallet, Vivek from Polkadot, PNS. We had Ludwig from Crust, Sota from Astar, and Tasio, I hope I said your name right, from Efinity. And thank you to everyone who tuned in today. If you joined late, don't worry. This call will be available right after this call for replay. So you can just go back to the tweet and hit replay and hear it for the next 30 days. And then it will also be uploaded to our YouTube channel past 30 days if you ever want to hear it. There will also be a tweet thread recap to recap everything you heard here with the relevant links. So in case you heard something and you forgot where to go to check out more, we will make sure to share that on social media. Thanks again for everyone who tuned in and for joining us today, and a special thanks to our speakers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and bye bye.